inside. Emig to the outside. McGrath is tied up in turn one. McGrath went down again. What a battle. Jeremy McGrath takes his first lead of the season. Jeremy McGrath spun out, and Emig is now in first place. Jeff Emig takes round number 3. Here he comes with the big race on, trying to get around Jeff Emig. Seals him off. Jeff Emig, a good bang-bang performance. And here's the checkered flag. Jeremy McGrath, his 44th career Supercross win. Jeremy McGrath, his second win of the year. McGrath is down, and he's under the bike. Lusk takes the lead.
Looks like he might have the flat tire. Jeremy McGrath, oh, what a break this would be. Yes, the rear tire.
Oh, Jeremy's
down. He's caught up in the first turn. The checkers for Jeff Emig. Oh, my goodness, Jeff Emig. Everybody from Sandpoint Stadium, the home of the Running Rebels of UNLV. It's the final round of the 1997 Supercross season. Art Ekman, David Bailey, and Davey Coombs with you tonight to crown a champion in the most prestigious Supercross series in the world. As always, getting right to the action with our qualifying heats. Our top 4 riders from each of 2 qualifying heats advance directly to the main event. The rest head on to the semis where the top 5 advance. But it's best to win early here tonight because gate positions are vital. The quicker you qualify for the main, the better the gate position. Finishing out the 20-rider field, 2 positions come from the last chance qualifier.
There's the eyes of McGrath. He knows the challenge ahead. He's just got to try to win his heat, come through here unscathed, get into the main event, win that, and keep his fingers crossed if something happens to Emig.
Jeremy McGrath. And the 30 board is up.
He's lined up pretty far to the outside, too, Art, with the left-hand first turn. So Wyatt saying a few more words to him. But
Lusk,
he's
just to his right, looked very good in practice.
Yeah, Lusk looked very relaxed, and Jeremy was the opposite, really. Still nursing that foot. It's a lot sore, I think, than most people realize, and he's toughing it out.
Number 11, Ezra Lusk, 2 wins on the season. Also in this heat, Mike LaRocco, Jimmy Button, Ryan Hughes, Michael Craig, Damon Huffman, Brian Swink, Guy Cooper, a name from the past, on a 4-stroke. Heat number 1 is underway. Jeremy McGrath cuts to the corner first. He has a good battle there, though. Ryan Hughes, number 9, and Jeremy McGrath break out in front.
Great start for Jeremy. I'm surprised he was able to get... He got a great jump over the gate. If he hadn't, he'd have got pushed wide. Controlled the first corner. He had Ryan in next to him, but Jeremy, experience he has, he knows what to do in that first couple of corners.
Jeremy McGrath, a winner here in 1994. Ryan Hughes, we mentioned Lusk looking fast in practice. Ryan looked outstanding as well. Cuts to the inside. The Team Kawasaki rider putting the challenge to Jeremy McGrath. Trying the inside route, but Jeremy hops over him.
Look at the difference in timing here. Ryan wasn't able to get over that first double, so he jumped that plateau and over the next bump. Track designers have done a great job to try to create passing, and there you see the different lines.
Number 15, Michael Craig, moving past Jeff Hedden into 3rd. Whoa, look at the long whoop section now. Great shot of it. Fishtailing, Ryan Hughes goes out in front. I think you're right, David. I think that heel, the sore heel that was cut between races at a restaurant. A pile of dishes fell down on his foot on the backside and put a deep gash. It took stitches. I think it might bother him more than he's letting us know.
Well, the part where it's bothering him is if he makes a mistake out there, jumps a little too far off a jump, not far enough, and of course the whoop section takes a real pounding, and anytime he extends that foot, like if you were to stretch your calf muscle, for instance, with any position like that, it's pretty painful for him.
McGrath still in good striking position, but he always has the hasty Michael Craig right behind him.
Well, Craig was looking pretty excited after practice and said, you know what? I go, how's it feeling out there? He goes, hot. Wouldn't believe when you come off the track how that heat just catches up with you. 20 laps is going to be a long time on this racetrack. The pace is pretty slow because of all the obstacles. It's going to take out a lot of energy.
Ezra Lusk tipped the back tire of Michael Craig and cuts in back. Craig was very lucky to regain control as we see McGrath trying to catch up with Ryan Hughes. Which riders will qualify first for tonight's main event? The answer is when we return to the City of Lights.
AMA Supercross on ESPN2 is being brought to you by Suzuki. Your Suzuki dealer has the ride you've been waiting for and the financing to get it. And by Honda. With a whole line of new motorcycles, your Honda dealer is the most exciting place to be this spring. Honda, come ride with us.
Ho! As we get back to the action, Ezra Lusk cuts in front of Jeremy McGrath, sending Jeremy back to third.
So again in the whoop section, Jeremy's struggling right there. About halfway through, he starts to lose his momentum.
Let's take another look, David.
Here it is, they're about halfway through the whoop section. Look at the momentum from Lusk. Actually, that was right about the end, but Lusk had already had that pass made. You can see by Jeremy's posture, he's going, you know, I don't feel like going that fast right now. Just get me to the main event where it counts.
Don't forget, only the top four make it out of this qualifying heat. Directly to the main event. The finest performance of the year for Ryan Hughes was a third place in Phoenix. A big late charge as he started out in 12th spot. He's capable of a very quick ride.
When he's on, he's very, very fast. And he was aggressive in practice. Right away in practice, he turned in a lot of hard laps. And I think he and Lusk were the ones that impressed me the most, and here they are running first and second.
Well, Jeremy's in good position to qualify anyway. Jeremy McGrath coming back to Las Vegas for the first time since that famous night the lights went out in Vegas.
I've always had a great time in Vegas. I love Las Vegas. To come here and you know, stay and vacation and then race as well. But what happened last time is real unfortunate, and I hope that this year my race is going to go good enough where I can pay those fans back that are, you know, the ones that were here last time. And, you know, it really wasn't that race before, I didn't mean to hurt the fans at all. It was just a certain situation.
Jeremy and the riders had every right to decline to race for safety reasons, David Bailey, but the four-time champion, I think, now realizes the impact it had on the fans.
Yeah, I'm really happy to see the crowd response we have here tonight, because
they came alive for him when they introduced him.
They did, and I think his hard work through the challenges he's had this season has won everyone's heart, and they've been able to put that behind him. But I was sitting in that crowd that night. It was pretty vicious. People were upset.
Huffman has moved into fourth as we're checking out the battle for the lead right now. Ryan Hughes and Ezra Lusk. Hughes, number 9. Lusk, did a little wheelie. Had to regain control there, David.
I'd say they got that bike hooked up pretty good when you're almost looping out to the whoop section. There is a section on this racetrack, if Lusk can't make a pass before, where Lusk is doing something a little different. Wyndham was doing it earlier in the 125 heat race. If he can move over to one side of the... Oh, Lusk went down.
And Butler, his mechanic Steve Butler, was looking at the incident just as it happened.
Well, that was a breath of fresh air that Ryan needed, because Lusk was all over him, and they were heading into the section right after this corner here, where Lusk has a little trick up his sleeve. He'll be using that in the main.
Ryan Hughes, as yet, has not won a 250 main event. He's going to try to make tonight the night. There's Lusk. And along with 17, Huffman. Those 4 would qualify, but Jimmy Button right behind Huffman. And Button's capable.
Plus, he's got headlights, or at least he had them when they brought the bikes out for the introduction.
Look at this. This is the bubble right here. Lusk, Huffman, and Button moves into the qualifying spot in the battle for third.
So I can tell you, when you fall down in this heat and get back up and try to get back into your rhythm, it's just about impossible. All that catches up with you, and I think that's what we're seeing with Lusk right now.
Jimmy Button getting his first podium appearance of a 250 Supercross this year. And that was, of course, at the Houston Astrodome. No, that was Minneapolis when he took the 3rd place. Led 4 laps of that race. Number 18, Jimmy Button, Team Chaparral.
Button's had some flashes of great rides. One of them, the first one I can remember, was the second night in LA, or the second week rather. Phenomenal ride. He was passing Huffman on the outside and went over the bars pretty hard. And took him a while to get back to that speed, and then around Minneapolis and on to Houston, he was on fire and actually irritated some of the guys with some of the aggressive moves. He was one that got together with Doug Henry, but he's put all that behind him and has been riding good sense.
Button in 3rd, Huffman in 4th. And it's surprising to me that Lusk, well, he went down, but he's back in 5th on the bubble. Only the top 4 will advance directly to the main event in the start. Now, this tight racetrack is so important as we take a look at the final lap.
Well, Lusk does have one trick I mentioned. If we If he gets close enough to make a pass on Huffman, that's the only place I see he can do it, unless he can get a good run through that whoops before the finish line turn.
We're taking a look at Jimmy Button, 7th in points, and there's number 1 Jeremy McGrath. Button picking up as Huffman wants to cut to the inside. Button still goes to the outside. Huffman and Button trying a bar-to-bar action here on the final lap. One thing you don't want in a situation like this is to get tangled up and hand over a qualifying spot to Ezra Lusk. So Button giving way a little bit, but making sure he stays in front of number 11. Here comes Ezra Lusk. Oh my goodness. Ezra Lusk coming across that finish line is Ryan Hughes. He has won the qualifying heat. Jeremy McGrath. Ezra Lusk in a great performance. We'll go to the main event. Woo! The Team Yamaha rider is excited. We'll be going down to Davey Coombs and hear the comments from the winner of our qualifying heat when we return. These 4 riders have advanced to tonight's Supercross main event. Ryan Hughes, Jeremy McGrath, Ezra Lusk, and Jimmy Button. Ezra Lusk and Button nosing out Damon Huffman in one of our more exciting heat races in some time. Right here in the final round at Las Vegas. Let's go down to Davey Coombs.
Thanks, Art. Down here with our winner, Ryan Hughes. Ryan, that's about the best we've seen you ride in a while.
Yeah, I mean, each week I've been going really fast and have the best lap times out of anybody, but, you know, I've just been making mistakes, some my fault, some not my fault, and tonight went really good, and I'm hoping the main event will go good, too.
It looks like the track's really slick, but you look pretty comfortable on it.
Yeah, it seems like kind of like home, you know. I live close down to Palm Avenue, where it's really hard like this, and, you know, it suits me perfect. I like it because I can go anywhere I want.
All right, well, it's good to have you back up here, Rhino.
Thanks a lot.
Ryan Hughes, our winner in heat number 1. Here's number 3, gunning for a championship tonight. He needs a 9th or better. Should Jeremy McGrath win, he would need a 9th. That would be the worst spot that he would be in, and he could still take the title.
Someplace you just don't want to be, and so far today he has looked very relaxed, very confident, smiling, laughing, joking around, and that's a great attitude. That's a good philosophy to have when this kind of pressure's on you. With the tremendous success Jeff Emig has experienced leading the points race, it's given him a whole new appreciation of Jeremy McGrath and the 4 years of consecutive championships.
I can't express how much respect I've gained for McGrath this year. Believe it or not, because now I'm kind of in that situation where, you know, where he's been. Not that he's out of it, you know, because he's still right there, you know, going for the Supercross championship like he deserves and like he earns. But I've got a lot of respect for him dealing with it for the past 4 years, being Supercross champion, and what it takes to be Supercross champion. And like you said, the amount of phone calls. You won't believe how many phone calls come through, and interviews, and people that want time. And more important than anything, you have to deal with the fans. The fans are great, no doubt about it. I appreciate every fan that I have out there, and I wish I had more time for every one of them.
Okay, we're set now for the lineup for heat number 2. Jeff Emig, Larry Ward, Doug Henry, Damon Bradshaw, Phil Lawrence, Ryan Huffman, Cliff Palmer, Sean Kalos, Buddy Antonez, the Arena Cross champion, Jason McCormick, Michael Jones, just to name most of the riders here in heat number 2, at least the contenders as we're getting set to go. The 30-second board has been up quite a while now and should go sideways at any moment. Qualifying heat number 2. And you see the short start we have going into the first turn. That's why it's important you qualify early to get the best gate position possible for the main event. They're off. Emig, the point man, number 3. Gets the leap out of that first jump. And it's Emig along with Doug Henry, number 20.
Looked like Henry may have had that hole shot, but Emig is just too good off the line. Denied him of it, and then before he went over the triple, he was already waving at the crowd. So Emig showing signs of having a good time out there already.
It's Emig, Henry, Larry Ward, and then number 12, Phil Lawrence. The top 4 positions.
It'll be interesting to see now on a Supercross track with Henry, who's won a couple of Supercrosses this year. At one point led the series. We got pretty even talent out there and completely different bikes. And that 4-stroke hits in different places. Should be able to get a good run at the whoops.
The battle out front. Emig, little fishtail getting squared off in the whoop section. Henry now starting to get some momentum as they go toward the finish line jump at the end of the first lap. Henry cuts to the inside. Doug Henry with the power over the jump.
Oh, that was impressive. He started into that corner. You could hear Larry Ward coming from behind. He goes, I'm going tight. And the torque of that motorcycle helps him make that corner and get enough power out of that without a run over the finish line jump to still make that plateau.
AMA coming up close to that rear tire of Doug Henry. And right there to take advantage of any mistakes, Larry Ward, number 6 on the Honda of Troy.
Now what happened right there was Henry didn't realize what a lead he had as he entered that left-hand corner. Thought, I better go tight in case these guys try to take it away. And that's the beauty of this track design. It's a little bit tough for the guy out front to make a decision, and right there it cost Doug a position.
Back and forth we go. Jeff Emig out in front, but Henry, with that 4-stroke power he's got, right behind him.
Larry Ward gets through this whoop section good too. Here he comes.
You know, Emig made mention after one of the outdoor races about the power that he's battling here against the 4-stroke.
Difficult. It's difficult to just to listen to, but that thing has a lot of torque, and like I said, the power band hits in different places, so the lines he's able to take and the run he's able to get at things because of that power. It's good, a little better in places and a little worse in places.
4 more qualifiers to advance to the main event when we return. Back in the second qualifying heat here in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's Jeff Emig, the points leader, trying to nail down the championship. Doug Henry cuts in front. Doug Henry on a 4-stroke Yamaha.
It's so slippery in that corner before the finish line jump that the guys are going wide to use the berm. That's what Emig just did, and that torque and the finesse of Henry being able to get in there and make that corner. There's a lot of compression, and when you let off the throttle, it's almost like putting on the brakes. So he's able to stop on a dime and then get the acceleration to make that jump.
Henry, of course, is one of the most heartwarming stories of the year. Not only did he come back to Supercross from the broken back injury, but he came back to win 2 races and lead the points. Our field summary with Henry, Emig, Ward, and Lawrence, the top 4, with the Arena Cross champion Buddy Antunez trying to get into the main event and catch that number 4th position.
Now Doug has been patient enough. Emig got back around him, and he stayed right there and made the pass again. Now he's got a little bit of a lead. Interested to see what he's got. Show him. He knows that Emig can run a 59.3. If he can go a little quicker than that, he can win this first heat race and get a great big gate pick.
I don't know. Henry got a lot of thrust out of that. Emig coming over the triple jump with Larry Ward right behind him. And a lapper is in front of the 4th place rider, Phil Lawrence.
Well, I think this track really suits Doug. Being a little tighter, a lot busier. He's already got a pretty good lead. I don't see any way these guys can catch up. Plus, Doug, over this section right here, what Larry Ward just did, he jumped over that jump. Doug's got a little different timing there, same as Lusk. He's able to make up a lot of time each lap. Everywhere else, they stay about the same.
Let's check in with Davey.
I was just talking to J-Bone, Jeff Emig's mechanic. I asked him if he was surprised. He said, it's just a heat race. We only got to get 9th. But he says he's completely surprised by his 4-stroke. I imagine Jeff Emig is as well.
Yeah, he's had plenty of opportunities, the last national to follow that thing around and dice it a little bit. So he's used to it, but it's the first time on a Supercross. I don't think anyone really knew what to expect, not even Doug, but it's looking good so far.
Of course, when they premiered the 4-stroke down in Gainesville in the first outdoor motocross national of the year, it was blue and white. They wanted to premiere it with their colors here in America with the bike that they are running right now, of course, is different colors. It's a European factory bike, Yamaha. As we take a look at Phil Lawrence, we've mentioned all along that he's in 4th position in a rather lonely ride as Bradshaw is quite a ways behind him.
As long as Phil can keep Bradshaw back there, he can ride a comfortable, relaxed pace. Should be in the main. And once again, it'll be a little bit of a struggle for Damon. He's fast. You watch him, and it's like what Ryan said after that first heat. He's got good laps. He rides good on press day. Rides good during the week. He does all of his homework. I would imagine he's in pretty good shape, a lot better than he used to be, and he's still just having bad luck, struggling. And hopefully that'll turn around for him in the outdoors.
2 laps to go. Doug Henry now pulling the big lead here in our second qualifying round, with Jeff Emig in good position, though. Larry Ward relaxing a little bit more in 3rd with Lawrence in 4th. And Bradshaw now is 4 seconds behind Lawrence in 5th place.
Art, it's brutal up here. Calling this race with a little breeze blowing, and down there with all this riding gear and as busy as this racetrack is, and as slippery, and the attention that you have to pay every second of the way. these guys are going to get tired. Not so much in this 8-lap heat race, but they're going to get an idea of what's to come in that 20-lap final, and it's not going to be pretty. These guys are going to be sweating.
I've never seen a better crowd here in Las Vegas. Well, we've never sold out before. It's more than 30,000 sold out, and they're all on their feet down in front of us. It's amazing the reaction this year after not having Supercross in Las Vegas last year.
Well, they're seeing history.
White flag is out now as Henry already by, and there goes number 3, Jeff Emig, in good position.
Great shot from Emig's point of view of Henry already over that triple. The crowd on his feet, like you just pointed out. Emig has closed the gap just a little bit, but Henry knows it's the last lap. As long as he jumps all the major jumps, he should be
you know what? Bradshaw, as Lawrence is trying to get through some lappers, has pulled up within a second. Here's Henry, our leader. But the bubble is in danger right now. Bradshaw is putting the challenge to Phil Lawrence as we take a look at the leader of our second qualifying heat on the 4-stroke, number 20, Doug Henry.
Doug has been able to experiment around with lines and jump things with different timing. He's found his way around Emig twice. The same turn. I don't think Emig will let him around there again if that should happen. But
Bradshaw almost got Lawrence on the last corner. Here's Doug Henry as he heads toward the checkered flag. What a story here tonight. So when we return, Davey chats with our winner, Doug Henry, before we move to the exciting semifinals. Taking a look at the replay. The finish line. Doug Henry, number 20 on the 4-stroke. With the regular Supercross format, less riders at the gate than at Daytona. This will be the first 4-stroke under our regular format to make the final main event. Doug Henry, Jeff Emig, Larry Ward, and Phil Lawrence. The top 4 as 8 riders now have qualified. Let's go to Davey Coombs.
Thanks, Art. We just had to clear out all the Yamaha mechanics from down here in the winner's circle. They're all ecstatic, and you're ecstatic. What a surprise, Doug.
Actually, this is what I plan to do. I mean, I know that a lot of people are surprised, but I've been riding this thing, and Supercross has been really good to me. I mean, at our Supercross track in California, I could get pretty close to my time, so you know, the track kind of suits it being a little bit slippery. So hopefully tonight I can go out and do the same thing in the main.
That was a great line you were using on Emig in the last turn, going inside. The 4-stroke's got enough power to come out of there. You might have an advantage there all night.
Yeah, I think so. You know, coming around the inside like that, I think I definitely get a little bit, you know, a half a bike length. That's all you need for a pass.
Well, congratulations, Doug. It's very interesting to have you up here.
It's fun.
He's making it fun for us, too, isn't he, David Bailey? We'll get back to the action from Sam Boyd Stadium in a moment. AMA Supercross is being brought to you by Dunlop. Simply the best for your bike. Tight and dusty, this track is probably the smallest arena of the season, and with more, let's call in Davey Coombs on the floor of the stadium.
So down here with your track pack. Now think about building a track in the Las Vegas desert. You got to put a lot of water on it. It's really hard packed. And you can see in this corner, this is where we saw Doug Henry making all his passes. It's really packed. The dirt isn't chunking up at all. There's no traction hardly at all. And he's able to track through. Also in the first turn, we're going to see the ground itself play a role because everyone's sliding outside right toward the grandstands.
Almost looks like a speedway race at times.
Well, in the groove, yeah, you can see where it's white or actually blue groove, and then between that outside and the inside, what you have is all the extra stuff that gets pushed in there. That's like no man's land if you get stuck in those marbles.
Getting set for our first semifinal round, Damon Huffman, who got his first 250 Supercross win this year. That was in Atlanta. Michael Craig, he's got one Supercross win in his career. That was back in '94 at Tampa. And Mike LaRocco, who won his very first 250 Supercross right here in Las Vegas. Brian Swing, Jeff Hedden, Grayson Goodman. Just a couple of more riders getting set now. It's nervous time as that gate's about ready to drop for our first semifinal. The top 5 riders out of this semifinal get the transfer to the main event. Huffman 17. Craig 15 pops on the scene.
Craig able to go for that whole triple. Rest of everyone else doubling it. Pretty smart what he did in the first corner. It looked like he had a good jump. Perhaps could have had the whole shot, but he let Huffman take it, and Huffman had to drift wide. Left it wide open for Mike.
Brian Swank is moving into third place now behind Huffman. So we've got Craig, Huffman, and Swank. A couple of very well-known riders in the first 3 spots.
Because of the soil, what we're starting to see is some one-line situations here and there, and rather than whine about it as a rider, you just get through there, follow if you have to, and then there are a lot of places to pass. Right there in the whoops, you can see the different lines. Key tonight is going to be patient, save as much energy as you possibly can, because I think later in the race, like Mike right there, just made a big mistake in the whoops. That gave the lead right back to Huffman.
So Damon Huffman, who after his win in Atlanta got injured and had a rather miserable finish to the Supercross season, is trying to end it all in 1997 here Supercross-wise with a good impression.
Well, he could show you, I mean, winning his first Supercross of the year, I thought, boy, heading into the Nationals, then into Daytona, seemed like he was really starting to find his rhythm and starting to ride more aggressive, and then the bottom fell out with the injuries. And
out 7 races, then came back and hurt his hand in the next one. Here's Craig getting a good box out.
I got the feeling Craig wasn't going to let him off the hook. He stayed right there.
The corner, right, David?
Saw some of that with Henry and Jeff Emick. Looked like once they made a pass, that was it.
Craig almost took Huffman's line away, but then gave him the crack that he needed to retake the lead. Here's the long whoop section. Huffman is great in the whoops.
Mike Craig hanging right there, but that's just sheer determination, aggression, and strength. Doesn't look like Huffman was trying very hard, and there you get what happens if you try to take the inside right there. That slick surface Davey pointed out. Huffman wasn't able to get a drive. What we saw Henry do, Henry could do it because of the torque of that 4-stroke.
The run for the checkers in our first semifinal coming up next. Welcome back to Las Vegas, Sam Boyd Stadium. Art Ekman, David Bailey, Davey Coombs, as we're in the midst of the action in semifinal number 1. Michael Craig out in front of Damon Huffman right now. This lead is switched back and forth. Swink is starting to approach the scene in 3rd, with Hedden in 4th and Mike LaRocco in 5th. Then a lot of distance goes back to Grayson.
The corner before this whoop section, Art, is just like riding out of the ice rink. Huffman's going to try that inside again.
Makes an easy move of it over that finish line jump.
Looks like definitely the fastest line. If you can get in there and still make the plateau finish line jump, I think in the main event we're going to see a lot of guys going for that inside.
Craig's coming off the best race Supercross-wise, a podium finish in 3rd at Dallas. Let's take another look, David, as we see the pass.
And you see Huffman gets a great run out of the into that whoop section, breaks a little bit, goes for the inside. Key there is deliver that power smooth. Use the clutch, make a little smoother power band so you don't get too much wheel spin. Huffman's good at that. Great throttle control.
Huffman starting to pull away just a little bit on Michael Craig, so we have almost equal distance, 1, 2, and 3. Going way back with Hedden and LaRocco, 4th and 5th.
Watch a Swink right here in this corner. These guys are just crawling through that corner. Believe me, they're going as fast as they can through there, but it's just so awkward because it's in places in that corner there's a little bit of traction, but the inside for the most part is just hard packed. There's no berm, and you're trying to get a run at that whoop section.
Okay, let's still go to Davey Coombs, who's with Brian Luddes.
Thanks, Art. Brian, it looked like Damon was having a little trouble in this corner. Is there anything special you told your rider before the race about how slick the track was?
Well, we don't really have a problem here in it's close to Southern California. All these guys are used to racing on this kind of surface for the guys that live in Southern California. He's having a little trouble with his wrist that he hurt in Dallas, and this is his only 2nd race back, so he has a little problem with turning corners.
How do you think his fitness will be in the main?
Well, depending on the start, he was doing pretty fast in the heat race until Lusk and those guys ran into him, broke his wheel. I think we'll be in the hunt.
I think so too. This is a great track for him, and Damon, like I said, he's got great throttle control, and a lot of the Southern California guys come in here. We heard Ryan say that earlier after winning his heat race. He's pretty used to it. He can go anywhere out there in the racetrack, and for Damon with that wrist, he's got to be perfect out there. One mistake, over jumps something and tweaks that back, you'll see him in a lot of pain.
There you see the field summary on the white flag lap. Well, we have so many subplots. We came to Las Vegas looking to crown a champion. Emig out in front by 13 points in front of Jeremy McGrath. And all of a sudden, we've got Doug Henry winning a heat on a 4-stroke. And some magnificent semifinal racing here.
Looked like Craig had, once he got around Huffman the 2nd time, looked like he was going to have it. And Huffman just followed him around, learned his lines, and ever since he made that final pass, he's just opened it up about a half a second a lap. Running that inside down the whoop section, and if you stay that close to the hay bales, It is a little bit better line. You'll have to deal with the ruts, but you risk getting a little out of shape, not having very far to go to the left, but off the racetrack.
Well, that corner's amazing. It's like traveling on ice. The checkers for Damon Huffman. Taking the victory here in our first semifinal round. Davey Coombs will be talking with Mr. Huffman when we return. Here in Las Vegas, these 5 avoid the LCQ tonight here in the Sam Boyd Stadium and move on to the final main event of the season. Huffman, Craig, Swank, LaRocco, and Hedden with Davey Coombs is now Damon Huffman.
Thanks, Art. Damon, how hard is the track out there to ride on? I saw you had a little bit of problem when you let Craig get by. It looked like you just surrendered the line. Are you having trouble in the corners?
Well, they're real slick, and if you get on a little bit too hard, it's not going to work. You gotta take your time and just kind of roll it on, and then get the traction to the ground. And my Kawasaki's doing it real good though, and I think you're going to see Emick, Rhino, and I up front.
We saw when Mike Craig went past you looked up, went to make sure he didn't use you as like an aircraft carrier landing. Were you nervous at all about that?
No, I knew I wasn't going to double out of the corner, so I just stuck to the inside. You know, Mike Craig's a good aerial guy, and he can be a little wild at times, but I wasn't worried.
All right, well, we'll watch you in the main event, Damon.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Damon Huffman, very glad to get back on the track, David Bailey. And, you know, as we check out the Suzuki track map, we've already seen the ramifications of that short start and the hard left in turn 1, and also the slippery conditions.
Well, my first thing is I'm glad the short is only that short, or the start is only that short, because the first corner is so tight, and there's a tricky little obstacle there, so necessarily the guy that gets the hole shot doesn't come out in the lead. Then onto a triple, then over to the far right, you got a section of rhythms and doubles and plateaus, and another triple on the top of your screen. And then as they work their way around to the finish line, a long whoop section, and that's been pretty interesting so far, seeing guys make a last-ditch effort coming into the finish line turn.
There's Buddy Antonez, number 19. He should like a track like this. He's right next to Cliff Palmer. I'm making reference, of course, to his Arena Cross Championship. And Sean Kalos, who's second in points in the 4-stroke series in the West, behind Schmale.
There's a good look at one of those 4 strokes. You can be cruising through the pits and just get hit in the face with a puff of air, and you have no idea where it came from. Well, it comes out of the end of that pipe. These are very different. Takes a little different style to ride them, and from what we've seen so far, Doug Henry's got that dialed in. He didn't seem surprised at all with his performance.
Well, Davey's down trackside. He has to put up with that noise.
Yeah, you know, there's actually 4 of these 4 strokes here, and they're all very good riders. We see Sean Kalos in this race, Lance Smale, Guy Cooper's out there on the Husaberg, and then, of course, Doug Henry, who's basically the star of the 4-stroke crowd right now. I'd like to see one of these guys get a heat race win, but or rather a semi-win, but I have a feeling Doug Henry's the only 4-stroke we're going to see on the podium tonight.
46, you saw Sean Kalos. 47, incidentally, Ryan Huffman right next to him has made 10 main events this year. 30-second board is up. When that goes sideways, anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds, the gate will drop. And our second semifinal round will be underway here in Las Vegas. Absolute beautiful evening.
Be interesting to watch these two. Number 46, Kalos on the 4-stroke, Bradshaw on the 2-stroke, 250 Honda.
Second semi is underway. Bradshaw with a little late one now gets out in front with some good torque. But he's got a battle with Michael Jones. Michael Jones, and that is Kawasaki of Mexico. A one-ride deal for Michael.
Palmer down in the first corner, getting up slow. I think he was a little bit towards the outside, and if there's any kind of a problem, you're going to get caught up in it. That's what happened to him.
Tough break for Cliff Palmer out of Oklahoma. Out in front, Michael Jones.
This is where Mike Jones really shines. He gets great starts, and he rides so aggressive in the early part of the race. He's a fighter.
And Buddy Antonez, number 19, gives him the challenge on the inside run, gets a good hop out of there, and all of a sudden Buddy Antonez is in the lead in our second semifinal round. Bradshaw there in third, moves into second place, and takes the wheel of Michael Jones out from under him.
Well, I think Bradshaw realized, look, this is going to be a long night unless I get around some of these guys, because if he was to get out of shape, that would take Damon out. So he decided, oh, do unto others before they do unto me.
Take another look now as Michael Jones goes into the corner.
Well, that was a good reaction there by Damon, not to run into the back of our leader. There it is. Damon just cut across the inside of that corner. Jones was really uncommitted, and Bradshaw took advantage on the inside.
Here's Bradshaw in second place. Buddy Anthonez is out in front trying to hold on. We've got Ty Birdwell in third and Ryan Huffman now in fourth. And Kalos went down.
Right after the finish line jump. As soon as you land there, you got to make a turn and then hit the triple there just over his left shoulder, and it's slick. I think he lost the front end.
So Kalos will take that Husaberg into the last chance qualifier. And here comes Bradshaw. Bradshaw with a good move. But the inside, Buddy Anthonez. He likes that tight action. Bar to bar down the whoop section. Bradshaw swings it through.
That's a perfect example of patience. Bradshaw kind of had the pass made going into that right-hander, and he knew that Anthonez had the inside and could possibly do to him what he just did to Mike Jones. Waited. Paid off for him in the end.
Bradshaw looking for a better gate position out of this semifinal round. More hungry riders are ready to qualify. Semifinal number 2 continues in a moment. Brought to you by Motorcycle Mechanics Institute. Quality training for the motorcycle industry. Welcome back at our second semifinal round. You see number 10, Manchester Honda, Damon Bradshaw, the leader of the second semifinal round, with Buddy Anthonez in second place.
Where Damon just slowed down not to jump over that little jump. I hope that's just him saying, you know, it takes a lot of energy to do that, and I'm here in the semi. I need to save myself for the main event because he's going to need to jump that every lap to be competitive in the main.
Number 47, Ryan Huffman, has opened some eyes this year. A privateer, you don't expect to get many top 10 performances being a privateer, but he's been consistently in there at 10th, 11th, and 12th, making the mains.
And that's where it begins. You know, you can't just make a main and then go, okay, now I'm going for the podium. And you got to be able to make mains, then you got to shoot for the top 10. Then you start shooting for the top 5, and you work your way up the ladder slow, because if you try and go for too much too quick, you see what's happened with guys maybe like Robbie Rayner, where there's a lot of expectation and you end up injured.
Jason McCormick right there, 52, one of his friends out of the Pacific Northwest as well. Let's go down to Davey Combs.
Thanks. I'm down here with Paul Delorier. This is the standing mechanic for Damon Bradshaw. How Damon felt that heat race when he narrowly lost the qualifying spot?
He was pretty bummed. He was kind of bad that he got pitched off at the start. Like, he knew he shouldn't have been on the outside, but it was too late then. So he just had to come out here and make it work for him.
But he's done a good job so far.
Yeah, he feels really good today, so hopefully put it all together tonight in the main.
And that can happen too. You can struggle all night. I've been in races where I really had my eye on Rick Johnson. He was the guy that in 1986 I was really only paying attention to him. He was the guy I was chasing in the title, and he rode just crummy in the heat, lousy in practice. And in the main, I'm thinking, oh, he's mine. And then he hole shots and wins, and I'm pulling off the track. He's already spraying champagne. Frustrating.
Well, we've seen Bradshaw get some bad breaks at the gate before and come back and then have some tremendous performances.
He knows the importance of staying in the game. Starting to delight the fans now over the triples with no footers. He's having a good time out there. That's what you have to do. The conditions they're hot, it's slippery out there, and he doesn't want to be in the semi, but just make the best of it. Anthonez jersey flapping in the breeze. That probably feels good. Bradshaw at a national in Virginia a few years back, before he retired, cut his jersey off just above his pants at one of the hot races back there, and said kept him a lot cooler.
Looking on now with 2 laps to go. Damon Bradshaw at the finish line. The white flag comes out for Damon.
Heading up to the triple, see what he does. Little styling. Crowd's on its feet every time these guys get close to a triple, particularly on the last laps with the heel clickers and the can-cans and the knack-knacks and all the things that have been born here.
Here's the only battle left, it seems, for third place. 2 guys out of the Pacific Northwest that not only race each other here in the national type competitions, but also all the time back home. Jason McCormick, number 52, and Ryan Huffman, number 47. Ryan Huffman getting back the advantage that he'd lost.
Looks like McCormick may have settled for that spot, too. As Ryan Huffman got a pretty good lead on him, and that looks like he's going to be able to hold that to the finish without any major mistakes. One more time through the whoops for Damon, and he'll get to go and relax.
One moment of excitement for Damon Bradshaw. Getting by on his way to move up into the lead. Checkers now for Damon.
Antonez about 12, 15 seconds back, taking his time. He knows he's in.
When we come back, we'll see the official results, the top 5 that make it out of semifinal number 2 when we return to Las Vegas. Welcome back to the 15th and final round of Supercross for 1997. These 5 riders advancing to the main event after our second semifinal round. Davey Coombs is with that winner, Damon Bradshaw.
Well, Damon, the AXO ads say you're always in black, but it looked like tonight you're enjoying yourself.
Yeah, I was having fun. You know, I don't like to have to get to the main event these ways, but you got to do what you got to do. And fortunately tonight I had to ride this race, but it's good to go out and, you know, feel a little more comfortable. I got off to a good start, and then I got passed by a few guys in the first deal, but it all ended up good.
Yeah. I know it's been a tough series for you. You didn't reach the expectations you wanted to, but what would it mean to you tonight to pull a shocker on all these guys and win one?
Well, it'd be really good. You know, my goal is to be on the podium, and, you know, I'd like to be there tonight, and I'd like to be standing in the middle. It'd be a good way to end the Supercross season, and, you know, I feel good, and, you know, the GT Bicycle, AXO, Manchester Honda, Mac Tools, Honda is working really good, and so I think, you know, we're in the hunt for the thing.
All right, we hope so, Damon.
Thanks.
You know, this Las Vegas track has been the site of an incredible number of firsts and lasts, especially when you consider there's only been 6 previous races here in Las Vegas. Back in 1990, Matasevich, he splashed on the scene with his first ever Supercross victory. Then 91, Mike LaRocco's very first Supercross win. 92, Jean-Michel Bale's last Supercross victory, and another great champion in 1993, Jeff Stanton, his last Supercross win. 94, Jeremy McGrath won, and that's the only time he didn't establish a first or a last. But Jeremy McGrath did win his very first Supercross 125 title here in 1990. That was back in 90. 95, Jeff Emig won his very first Supercross. So as we leave you, we turn to our Honda flashback, 1995. That was the night Jeff Emig tasted his first victory.
In our Honda flashback, we'll recap 1995 in Las Vegas. The night the lights went out and the controversy began. At the start of the main, Team Honda and Team Kawasaki elected not to ride, saying that it was too dark out there and too dangerous for the riders. But in Jeff Emig's eyes, the conditions were fine. He saw an opportunity and grabbed the early lead. Behind Jeff Emig, though, it was a main event full of privateers. And coming into the whoops, watch DeMint's right hand coming off the handlebar, saves it, but drops second place to Kyle Lewis. But here was the story. In order for number 11, Larry Ward, to finish second in the Supercross Series, the highest finish of any privateer, he had to race the main with Emig's decision to ride. But the battle continued for second between Jeff DeMint, who made a quick pass on Lewis entering the whoops. But Lewis, with an inside line, retakes second place. And then came his teammate, Larry Ward, through the whoops to the inside of DeMint, takes over third, and on the next lap takes over second at the end of the whoops from his teammate, Kyle Lewis. So Larry Ward picks up second while Emig wins his first Supercross.
Welcome back to Las Vegas for round number 15, the final round of the Supercross season. While we were away, James Eichel and Travis Hodges, they were the top riders in the last chance qualifier and filled the final 2 spots. So the field of 20 is now set for our 250 main event tonight, in which we will crown the champion right after the race. But right now, the East-West 125 showdown or shootout history goes all the way back to when the 125s joined the Supercross show in 1985. But David Bailey, we've never had only one East-West shootout, the best from each divisions. We've always had more races than just one. It puts an added importance on a guy like Ricky Carmichael to show what he can do against the rest of the best.
This is for the bragging rights.
Here we go. Kevin Windham just completing his second consecutive 125 title a season in the West, moving into a tie for fourth in the all-time 125 win list. Tim Ferry won the East, becoming only a second rider to win a 125 title without winning a race. Ricky Carmichael collected the most wins in the East, 3, and just might be the fastest rider on the track. Frenchman Stefan Roncada finished second in the East with 2 wins, 4 podiums in his very first season in America. And look out too maybe for Robbie Reynard, second in the West, who's performed very well lately, David.
This is 125 class, especially with the East-West together, starting to look like more like a 250 main, just smaller bikes. Now these guys taking a really close look at the racetrack too on this parade lap. They have to put a time limit on pretty soon because these guys are really taking notes out there.
The Suzuki starting grid for the 125s. You know, these riders going into the race as on odds-ons favorites that we mentioned before, but anything can really happen when you put up a $20,000 purse. Pace Motorsports has really made this a very exciting shootout. And we talked with 3 of the contenders before things got underway.
You know, everybody's able to have one bad race. So if I do have a bad race, I don't want everybody for the next 5 years saying, yeah, you won a 250 and you're the only guy to ever do it, but still Ricky beat you this year, you know. And, you know, that's the bad thing. I'd feel a lot better if there was 4 of them. I'd feel a little better about if it doesn't happen here, it'll happen somewhere else. You know, I felt like I've had a great season, so I definitely got my work cut out for me here. This is probably just as important as, well, more important than any race of the entire season yet this far.
I'd like to think that I could win. I think it's going to be a good race if we come out 1 and 2. It's going to have to be that way because we're both about the same speed. So, you know, it's really no pressure on me because, you know, I shouldn't win. It's my first year. He's been in it for 2 years. So, I mean, he should be a little bit more faster than me. But I'm doing really well. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's going to be where the start is, that's for sure.
Basically, I had to win the championship this year, and I couldn't take any extra chances that weren't necessary. And I didn't, and now I won the championship. Now I can go out here, and if I crash, I crash. At least I'm going for it, and I'm trying.
You know, David, Ferry knowing that he had to have a plate to get a ride for next year. But now this is so important. After he went out and won that heat race very impressively, it's very important for him to get a win under his belt.
And I think you can see that on his face. A moment ago as he was getting ready to take that parade lap, just looking at the look on his face, it didn't look like he was feeling very good or very focused. It's hard to tell which, but when he's on, he's beautiful to watch, and he can open up a huge lead. But there you got number 70, the new phenomenon, Ricky Carmichael. He had a disgusting heat race. He hasn't been very happy all day with the way he's felt, but that kid can go back to the pits and regroup and come out swinging for the main, and so can Wyndham.
Last year, we had the most East-West matchups of all time. 4. Wyndham took 3 out of the 4. Pashon, the lone victor on the other side of the fence. But here tonight, who will get the bragging rights? The East Rider or the West Rider? The West has won 19 times of these matchups. The East 11 times. Who now will get the 1-900 Pro Race Hole Shot Award as they are off? And it's 57 on the outside gets the Hole Shot Award. Yes, David Pingree. But taking over things right away is Jeffrey Willow.
And right there already, side by side, Carmichael and Wyndham. Carmichael gets the edge.
Wyndham to the inside, bar to bar. They jump into the corner. Oh, what a great race behind the leaders. Here comes Carmichael, number 70.
That was close, very close. Carmichael had no room. No room at all, but he got aggressive, kept it upright.
Here's Carmichael giving the pressure to Jeffrey Willow of Team No Lane Yamaha. His best finish, a 5th. In Minneapolis. Carmichael, of course, with an up and down season, blitzes by on the short whoop side. Now goes into the long whoops. Can he get a lead on Wyndham, who's back in 4th, gunning for 3rd?
Oh, you can see Wyndham. He doesn't care about anybody else but that number 70. He wants him. That's what it's going to come down to, it looks like. Not taking anything away from Willow or Pingree or anybody else. Sheik's in contention, too. You can see those guys. Tim Ferry has got a horrible start. He's got a lot of work to do to catch those guys if he ever can. Raynard's right there with him. There you see Ferry heading up to the triple, and it looks like something may be wrong.
He's 14th. Out in front, though, it's Carmichael.
Ferry's not up to speed, so something may have happened in that first lap. Now, what's interesting is Willow was able to go for that triple right behind Carmichael, and Wyndham didn't do it. So that gave a little bit more advantage to RC.
RC pulling out now as here comes Wyndham. Wyndham's going to make the move on Willow, and he passes easily into 2nd place. But does Wyndham now have the smooth technique to catch up with the blistering speed of Ricky Carmichael? This is the showdown we wanted to see.
This is I think what everybody was anticipating. Sure, there's the Ferries and the Dowds and the Sheiks, but really the story has been Carmichael and Wyndham, and here they are 1st and 2nd. It's not over.
Wyndham, of course, taking 3 victories in the East-West matchup last year.
He has 11 total 125 victories in his career. He will be going to the 250s next year, but Ricky Carmichael will be going after a title here in the 125s next year.
Oh, Willow's gone down really hard right behind the leaders. One of those rhythm sections caught him.
And everybody is passing him. It's a two-way battle out front. You see Jeff Willow there trying to cross the track to pick up the bike to try to just ride it out.
It can really mess up your concentration, too, when you get these two guys blaze by in the whoops and disappear, and you're feeling, boy, I got to pick up the pace, and he may have been riding just a little bit over his head through there.
Here's the ride we've been waiting to see. Ricky Carmichael and Kevin Windham. Windham feels it's very important for his career to go out a winner. Ricky Carmichael wants to establish a new momentum for next year.
Looks to me like Windham is just a little bit more relaxed than Carmichael. He certainly had a much better heat race, and he caught Carmichael.
That's got to be a psychological effect, I would think. Carmichael, his inability to shake Windham.
Well, he went for the triple right there, and Windham didn't. And if Windham can catch right back up, I think that tells us that he's a little quicker. And it's just going to come down to being patient and choosing the right place on the racetrack to make that pass. And then if he can make it stick, well, I don't know, because Carmichael's pretty aggressive. He's not going to give it away.
The crowd is into this shootout. There's no question about it. They're on their feet as Kevin Windham and Ricky Carmichael start to get into the lappers. Jeffrey Willow, who had such an excellent start in this moto. It's through the long whoop section. Carmichael, the winningest 125 East rider. He led every lap in one of his races. And one of his outstanding races at Pontiac, he crashed early, went from 13th to first place.
Look at Windham right there. Just looks like he's on a trail ride. He keeps getting close right there in that corner rather than try something else.
Oh, Windham to the inside. Kevin Windham with Ricky Carmichael right on his tail.
Just cut all the way across the track, took that line right away. Carmichael says, okay, right back at you. Look at
how tough the youngster is, 17 years old. He's going after Kevin Windham right now.
I don't think Carmichael appreciated that line. It was a smart line, and it was a clean pass, but I think it just really caught Carmichael by surprise, and he obviously didn't like it. Came right back.
Take another look now as Windham cuts in frontal just a little bit, nips the rear tire, it looked like.
Now, they'd already made contact back in the corner, and that was at the finish of that pass where they came together a little bit right there, and Windham just backed off. Smart, because he's still in contact.
Oh, Windham goes by in the whoop section. Carmichael making a mistake there. Very smooth technique of Windham winning out in that particular sortie. Our coverage of the 1997 125 shootout continues from Las Vegas in a moment. Welcome back to the 125 shootout in Las Vegas, Nevada. Out in front, it's Kevin Windham and Ricky Carmichael. As we take a look at our Suzuki field summary, David Pingree a surprise as he's had a miserable season. He's trying for a positive point before the season ends. Scott Sheik after Pingree, and there is the battle right now. Sheik, number 29.
It's a great battle for fourth. All these guys
stealing
each other's lines.
Dowd and Decker.
Look at Dowd muscling down the inside, takes the line away. Surprised he didn't go for the inside berm right there, but he had Sheik's front tire just beside him. He knew Sheik couldn't cut back to the inside, so went to the outside to get a good run at the finish line, John.
Let's get Wyndham's mechanics perspective with Davey Coombs.
Allie has some aggressive riding up there, but looks like Kevin's answering every question Carmichael's got for him.
Yeah, I couldn't really see what happened, so I really don't know. I just saw him hit right here. I don't know what happened.
Are you surprised that Carmichael would ride aggressively today with the Nationals and everything?
No, a race is a race, and I imagine each guy wants to win, so we'll see.
Let you get back to work.
Well, as I was saying before,
it really is, David. Look at this.
Yeah, Windham, like I said, he just looked a little bit more comfortable all day, and you can tell by his riding, it just looks effortless, where Ricky is digging deep. He's taking chances, and it looks like he's starting to settle into a pace that he's comfortable with, but it's just not quite as fast as Kevin's.
With 11 125 wins and 2 consecutive 125 Western titles. He got the monkey off his back early, winning his first 250 this year at Charlotte. How relaxing has that got to be going into next season?
Well, I was actually a little surprised that he didn't do a lot better sooner. You know, he had a couple of 10s, maybe a 6th, if I remember right, but that win didn't really surprise me. I was very impressed with his ability on the 250, and next season, I don't think it's going to be a learning year for him. He's going to be right there.
Yeah, number 1 in the West right there. The first ever active 125 rider to win a 250 main event. Hughes had it close one time with a second the year before, but this is the first one to do it. A Honda stopwatch now as Wyndham goes by a lapper. And look at the lead he has drawn on Ricky Carmichael, about an 8.2.
That's about how long it takes to get through that long loop section. And just as he's exiting it,
here's Pingree, 57 in third.
Yeah, Ricky's starting to enter it, and Ricky is not gaining anywhere. If Kevin were to make a mistake out front, or the lappers were to really play a major role, he'd have a chance. But the way things look right now, I think Kevin's in control.
Dowd, Decker, and Sheik behind him. Here out in front as we check the lap time. What do you suspect it might be?
Well, depending, this lap isn't one of the lappers, yeah, this is not one of his faster laps. I'm going to guess about 102 because he's been running a minute flat, pretty consistent during the day when he's on.
Kevin Wyndham, can he hold it together, or can Ricky Carmichael get his technique back?
Actually, Carmichael had just closed a little bit there, and then he made a big mistake again. So he's trying everything he can to close that gap, but he's taking those chances.
He's taken it down to a 7-second lead, and there you go. You almost hit it on the head.
Well, he's a little quicker than I thought.
101.8 the lap time for Kevin Wyndham, who knows that Carmichael could catch up.
He's got to try to get out and hide, and if you're in second place and you can't see the leader, and the differential is staying the same or it's getting bigger, at some point you just go, well, second's good enough. You look over your shoulder, you see it's a mile back there, and I don't know Ricky good enough yet to know if that's what's happening in his head, but if Kevin maintains this lead, I'm sure he'll settle.
You know, you wonder what's going through Chad Watt's mind, the mechanic of number 70, because you really can't do much about it once he's out there on the track. How about it, Davey Combs?
But, Chad, it looks like Ricky's not playing on his game, and he's giving him everything. You're going to tell him to go after Wyndham.
Yeah, and Kevin's riding really exceptionally well right now, and Kevin is definitely doing the job he's got to do, and Ricky is not quite up there right now.
Maybe not the best time to get with him, guys.
He's not up there at all. It's Ricky Carmichael hitting the dust in the whoops here in Las Vegas.
Tangled with a lapper getting through there. It's really tough to maintain a straight line through there. I'm sure it was an accident from both their parts, but Ricky losing a position to his teammate Pingree, and here comes Dowd on the inside.
John Dowd, a strong finisher, known mostly for his longer race kind of techniques rather than a real tight track like this one here in Las Vegas. But he has run an absolute beautiful third-place run.
And here's another look at what happened. Corey Keeney, I believe that is 53, may have changed his line just a little bit. It's hard to tell, but Ricky looked like he had a little more head of steam and hit his back tire and high-sided. It takes a lot of energy to get up and get going again, and with Dowd breathing down his neck, it's even tougher.
Decker moving up to fifth behind Dowd. Carmichael still in third with Pingree in second place now. Wyndham won 3 of 4 East-West shootouts last year. Only one chance for a shootout startup this year. Can he hold on?
In this week's Suzuki riding tip, we're going to talk about starts, one of the most important parts of the race. Be sure to be warmed up with some stretching or jogging, and if possible, ride your bike around a little bit before you ride to the starting line. Next, it'd be important to watch some other starts prior to your race to learn the timing of the gate and where the best starts are coming from. And prepare your spot at the gate. First, make sure that the gate drops all the way to the ground. Sometimes dirt can get lodged under it and it doesn't drop all the way. Scrape all the loose dirt, pack it down, and fill up the rut that has begun to develop from starts prior to yours. And some riders like to build a small levee over that gate so when it falls, you don't have to climb over that 1.5-inch pipe. Body positioning and what you focus on at the gate is critical. Some riders like to look to one side or the other because they can sense movement in the gate easier from the side than from straight on. And remember, stay leaned forward as you go over the gate. Some riders sit up too soon, the bike starts to wheelie, and you have to let off. Just like shooting a basketball or swinging a golf club, follow through.
Welcome back to the 125 shootout here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Carmichael goes head over heels, and it's Pingree in second place trying to get through. And Carmichael looks like he might be hurt.
He went down really hard, and now the riders are trying to miss him.
Decker going
He's okay,
by.
That's a good sign, but he's racked himself good. He's given it all he had.
I don't think he's quite sure that he's in Las Vegas right now. Take another look.
Looks like to me he let his front wheel get down in one of those deep holes, started a little bit of a nosedive, and he was riding it out for a couple, then his front wheel ducked down another one, and that was it.
He's trying to get back on the track.
Look at that. Look at his back where the
looks like a tire rubber.
Yeah, the tire may have smeared the printing on his jersey. He's not happy.
So now it's Wyndham, Pingree, John Dowd, and Craig Decker. Decker putting in one of his finest performances.
Ricky Carmichael is the kind of kid that will understand what he did wrong, and he won't make that mistake again. I feel sorry for everybody next week.
Yes, because in between those 3 wins and 3rd place at Pontiac, he had crashes in 3 races that took him out of the points chase. 2 laps remaining in our 125 shootout. I was talking to Jeff Emig before the race, David, and Jeff thought that this was a very important race for Kevin Wyndham because he's already proved that he's moving to the 250s with a certain amount of success, but he's the old veteran in the 125s, and psychologically, it was important for his career to win this race.
Well, he's not going to get too many chances, if ever, to race Carmichael again like this, so now it's official. He's beaten him, and Carmichael can say, well, yeah, but I had a bad night, but in the books, it's going to say Kevin won.
Look at here, John Dowd, number 14, and Pingree going at it for 2nd place. Team Yamaha's John Dowd coming back from injury this year. It was the injury that took him out of the battle. He was a contender in the East, and then right before St. Louis went down on a practice track. He missed the last 3 races, right? He won Indianapolis. He won Daytona. He was 2nd as well. The white flag lap.
Crowd starting to react to Kevin. He's already over on the triples. He's coming up to another one. They're waiting for another heel clicker. Yamaha's got to be happy with this evening because Henry making it. Another heel clicker. Henry qualifying in a 4-stroke. First time ever winning his heat race. And now if they keep it upright, they're going to go 1-2 in this shootout.
There's a lot of pride right there. Ali Seymour, Kevin Wyndham's mechanic. And Kevin taking the slick part rather slow right now.
And he's got a huge lead, and it's his teammate Dowd that has worked his way into 2nd. And Dowd's not off the hook. He's got to still look at Carmichael.
He's in pain, I think. Psychologically, maybe physically.
Well, he knows that
he is strong-willed. He has so much fire to win.
Yeah, that's not feeling good either because he just watched Wyndham ride right by and put his hands in the air.
And before lapping Ferry, Wyndham takes the checkered flag. A brilliant victory for Kevin Wyndham. Patience
what he had to do.
And style paid off here today in the 125 shootout, David Bailey.
He rode the most relaxed, the most confident, the smartest. He was patient, and even with that little physical activity that went on in that corner that Carmichael came in there and put an aggressive move on him, and Wyndham was able to keep it upright.
Well, it's going to be interesting, too, to get the comments that Davey Coombs will be getting for us from Wyndham and the other riders when we return to Las Vegas's Sam Boyd Stadium. Just completed the 1997 125 shootout featuring riders from the East and West divisions. It was the only time the division leaders got together to grab the bragging rights. And as we check out the Suzuki top 10, you see Kevin Wyndham, the winner, Dowd, Pingree, Decker, and Sheik. As we check out 6 through 10, I know Davey Coombs now is making his way toward the victory podium. Davey?
Well, you know, here in Las Vegas, the color money is supposed to be green, but tonight it was blue. Kevin, congratulations.
I felt so good out there, man. Me and Ricky got out, which was the way I wanted it to go, and no excuses on East or West. You know, I mean, I know he went down, but he was riding a good race, and I made a pretty aggressive pass on him, and he surprised the heck out of me and came back and made a little bit more of an aggressive. He hit me pretty good, and that's racing. Luckily, I was able to get around him before he went down again, and man, what can I say? This bike's working wonders for me, and it's the reason I'm up here.
Would you say that this, what's probably your last 125 Supercross win, is the biggest?
It's definitely one of them. It's the way to finish out the season, you know. Every one of my interviews have been Ricky and me, you know, instead of just me, which is sometimes the way the rider wants to hear it. But, you know, Ricky's riding great, and that's what I need is more wins against him.
Coming up next, the 250 title to be decided. A capacity crowd here in Las Vegas, Nevada, on their feet as Jeremy McGrath, Jeff Emig, and the 250 crew take their parade lap. We came into tonight, David Bailey, with the idea that the focus is on a championship to be won. There's no question about that. 13 points ahead, Jeff Emig, ahead of Jeremy McGrath. All he needs is a ninth or better to win the title. But after seeing some of the preliminary action, how impressive was Doug Henry? How impressive was Ryan Hughes?
Well, the first time a four-stroke to make it to a main event and then to win the heat and beat Emig, who looks like he might wrap up the title, it's pretty significant. And what happens is, as you look at Jeremy there riding his parade lap, he's pretty nervous, and I also are nursing an injury, and Emig is a little nervous too. These guys are going to open it up, I think, for guys like Ryan or perhaps even Lusk, who I think can go for it, because where he sits in the points, if he makes a mistake, I don't think he could lose his position, and he can't catch either one of Emig or McGrath, so he's going to let it all hang out as well.
Davey Coombs, how are things looking down at the gate?
Well, you guys kind of hit on the head. The magic number for Jeff Emig is a 9th place, and the one thing that might affect him is this first turn here. Now, we've been watching all night how tight it is going in here. If Jeff Emig gets pushed out, if something happens really bad, we might have a good race. Otherwise, I don't know if there's enough good guys to get between him and McGrath.
The Suzuki point standings tell us that Emig's 13-point lead gives him that luxury of needing only a 9th or better to win his first Supercross championship. Lusk in third. Ward, the top non-factory rider. Albertine not racing tonight because of injury, will drop out of the top 5, but likely LaRocco might move up. Here's our Suzuki starting grid right now as we check out all the riders that made this final main event in Las Vegas, Nevada. And it's so exciting to see the crowd on their feet, and it looks like they're going to be standing for the entire race here for the 250 final. Michael Jones, Jeff Hedden, James Eichel, Travis Hodges, some of the names you don't hear in every race, but also made the field and made the money.
I think the start is definitely going to make the difference tonight.
Emig enters tonight's race with the unusual businesslike manner, I should say the usual businesslike manner, while McGrath has a touch of disappointment in his voice.
Well, as far as sealing down the title, I mean, I'll be honest with you, it's something that I want to do, but I'm thinking more about the race and putting in a real good solid ride, you know, giving it 100% like I've done all year long. And I mean, I've had you know, the past month has been really good, and I feel that my riding and you know, my technique and my style and everything is, you know, is where I want it to be. But you always have to constantly be working on going faster each race.
I got so close and caught up from a long ways back, and then just to have little stuff happen like that is just, you know, it's a heartbreaker. But you know, with the exception of those few things, I was really consistent. Caught up a long ways and was right there knocking on the door, and then, you know, fell backwards again. So I don't know, all I can do in Vegas here is just try and win the race.
You see Jeremy right there once again talking with Wyatt, last minute instructions, and we always saw that from Skip. And I imagine he's just telling him, hey, don't worry about it, do your best. It's been a long year. You've done a great job under the circumstances. We had a couple bad ones where you'd be right there. Go for the whole shot and keep your fingers crossed.
A couple of real bad breaks, like the flat tire, and then when he was in front of Emig, and what was that, Charlotte? And then going down while in the lead with 3 laps to go. It's all part of the game. Lady luck. And right here we're in Las Vegas, where I guess you can't do any better than Lady luck anyway. Davey?
Well, I'm taking a look at the starting line down here now. I'm actually surprised that Jeff Emig has chosen a spot so far to the outside. He's about halfway through the outside part of the gate. He's sitting between Team Chaparral riders Jimmy Button and Phil Lawrence. Not the safest place to sit, believe me. And on the inside, there's the guys like Hughes, Bradshaw, McGrath, and of course Doug Henry. I don't know. That's it might seem risky. We'll have to see how he gets out of the start, I should say.
Probably staying out of trouble.
I agree with you, Davey. I'm surprised to see him that wide, but he is very confident in his starting ability. He knows if he gets a good start like he usually does, doesn't matter where he starts from. Also, he watched that 125 race, and Wyndham won that race, and he started in the same place.
7 different winners this year. 12 different riders made the podium. 11 different riders have led laps this season. We've had the most first-time winners, a tying record of 4. We've had the most riders winning more than 1 Supercross in a single season. That ties that record with 4. It's been an unbelievable year. Jeff Emig gets ready. We're underway. The final race of the season.
Henry makes the $1,000 won 900 Pro Race Hole Shot Award. Right there, number 3 is Emig with Bradshaw alongside. Hughes is behind him with Jimmy Button and Larry Ward.
I don't believe as one rider having trouble getting through the first corner. Just one guy didn't get through there. He gets slid to the outside, but I am amazed at how well Emig came out through that first corner because he had several guys to the inside of him. Easily could have pushed him off the racetrack.
Jeremy McGrath has already passed Larry Ward and Jimmy Button. He's moved into 5th spot right now, where he's challenging for 5th against Craig. Henry is out in front. Bradshaw and Emig behind him. Emig moves into 2nd place with a good box-out-like move. The block pass for Emig. Hughes is coming up on Bradshaw in 3rd.
Looks like Henry is just going to say, see you later. He's already got a big lead in the battle. It's a 3-way battle for 2nd right now, including Bradshaw. Jeremy sits right behind that, and if he wants the title bad enough, he's got to go in there and mess with Jeremy a little bit. I mean, mess with Jeff Emig. That's what Rick Johnson would have done back in our days. He'd take me out if he could.
5-second lead for Henry on Jeff Emig in 2nd place. And it's Bradshaw and Hughes, McGrath, Craig, and Button.
I think what you're going to see here, Art, is a very smart, patient, careful race from Jeff Emig. Normally, I think he'd be out there hounding the leader, Doug Henry, but right now he's just going, okay, where's Jeremy? He's still back there. Okay, I'm good. As long as these guys don't apply a lot of pressure, I'll stay right here all night.
Well, so common the phrase, I'm riding my race.
He's got to feel like he's the leader right now with
Hughes. Number 9 on Bradshaw.
With Henry so far out front, this looks like the race for the lead.
So it's Emig, his teammate Hughes, which could prove to be a problem if McGrath ever gets up there.
That's a very comfortable feeling. It's got to be for Emig right now to look over his shoulder and see his teammate, know that he's going to be riding as wide a bike as possible to help Kawasaki bring home that title.
There you see Hughes, who was so impressive in the qualifying heats this year.
See Jeremy right there, just still in the same place as he was the lap before. Everyone's going about the same pace right now. Because the track's so slippery, it's tough to venture out of that main groove and try to make a pass. You almost got to wait for a mistake, and these guys haven't made any yet.
Suzuki field summary: Henry, Emig, Hughes, Bradshaw, and McGrath. Hughes was actually injured after Atlanta when he went down very hard and took a 16th in there. And so he had to sit out. Daytona, Minnesota, Houston, and came back for the Orlando race where he took a 7th. Took a 7th, a 6th, and a 5th. But then a 10th in the last race at Dallas. Great jump shot right here. Gives you an idea how high these guys can fly. Emig and Hughes staying right close together.
Hughes is applying a lot of pressure, staying close.
Phil Lawrence. Phil Lawrence, out of our camera view, went down. He obviously is not going to re-enter the race, holding onto his left shoulder. So bad luck for Phil Lawrence, the Team Chaparral rider.
I was saying Ryan is actually really pushing Jeff there for a bit. Maybe he's just trying to make sure that he keeps on the pace. But it wouldn't be surprising to see Ryan, if he can, make that pass on his teammate. As long as things stay the way they are, it wouldn't be devastating for Jeff to drop a spot.
Boy, Bradshaw's giving it a pretty good go. He's trying as best he can to the ropes. Here comes Hughes.
Emig still controls that inside of that corner. He learned his lesson in the heat race with Henry going by him there twice.
2 Team Kawasaki bikes. Emig, the leading winner on the season with 5 wins. No other rider has more than 2. Although Doug Henry right now, who's a year in the lead, could win his 3rd.
This just has a weird feeling to me, Art. Just seeing Jeff out there riding very cautious. And to see Jeremy back there behind these 3 guys, behind Bradshaw. We saw what happened with Carmichael, trying to make up time, trying to make something happen, trying to dig a little deeper to make up ground on Wyndham, and all the mistakes he had. Ryan making a big one right there. As soon as you try and go for a little extra, you find yourself on the ground. The conditions as slippery as they are.
And Ryan is slipping back as Bradshaw cuts in behind Emig. Let's go down to Davey.
J-Bone, looked like something happened to Rhino there, but was he making you nervous getting up like real close to the jump like that?
Actually, no, I did make me nervous. Actually, you know, as of right now, he can get up to 9th place, so we're not really worried about it, you know, where everybody's at. Rhino's out of the race, and, you know, he's got to do his racing, too. We can't really tell him not to pass him. That's not really the way to do it.
So Kawasaki didn't talk about this before the race?
No, we didn't. We try to keep it quiet. You know, we're just going to race. If we have to do it later, then we do, but I don't think we're going to need it anyway.
Ford 250 action as we take a look at our leader, Doug Henry, here in Las Vegas. We'll be right back in a moment. The Supercross 1997 is quickly drawing to a close. Our leader right now in the final round is Doug Henry, looking for his 3rd victory of the year. Bradshaw, Hughes, and then Jeremy McGrath, all behind Jeff Emig in 2nd place.
This is going to be pretty wild for people that weren't here to hear the results tomorrow morning or even later tonight and hear that Doug Henry won and go, oh, well, okay, that sounds normal, but then to hear that he did it on a 4-stroke, it's pretty amazing. And these conditions are really optimum for that 4-stroke because the way the power is delivered, you get much better traction.
First time in Supercross history it would be if a 4-stroke could win this race.
It's already history by leading and making the main. It's just Doug is just a phenomenal rider, and if anybody can be versatile enough to go out and really up to the challenge to ride a 4-stroke in Supercross, especially a tight one like this, it's really amazing what he's been able to do.
Doug Henry out in front on the 4-stroke. You see right there Emig in 2nd. Number 10 is Bradshaw in 3rd, with Ryan Hughes in 4th, and Jeremy McGrath has not been able to pick up time on any of those riders. I've got to think that injured heel is really hurting him.
Well, it's a couple of things. You're right on the injury. He's in no physical shape to be digging a little deeper and trying to do something special to make up time here tonight, and it's the toughest track to do it on.
He came into this race with the most podium appearances of anyone, 9. And a very brave effort this year after leaving Honda to form his team in a week and come so close and really helping Suzuki develop their 250 program. So there's a lot of credit that goes to Jeremy McGrath, even though he doesn't look like he will win a 5th consecutive title.
You never know. It's not over till it's over. If Jeff was to make a big mistake, if something really wacky was to happen to the motorcycle, and I don't even want to think it, but anything is possible. And at this point, that's all prayer Jeremy has.
Mike Craig fans, he got a good start, but he went down shortly. There's the move. Ryan Hughes in front of Emig. The position really doesn't matter to Emig. He wants to just stay out of trouble.
And if later in the race that position did make a difference, you can bet the signal board would come out for Hughes, let him by, and he'd do it.
Ryan Hughes, Jeff Emig, and Damon Bradshaw. But right now, Jeremy McGrath is 4 seconds behind that group. Bradshaw, he's trying his move on Emig. Emig doesn't want to let it go. He looks back at him. Bradshaw moves cleanly up a spot.
Now what this sets up is that, yeah, Emig didn't need to hold these guys off, but now the next guy in line is Jeremy. It's hard to say what will happen if Jeremy gets close enough to Emig, if any aggressive riding tactics will come into play. I know that it used to. Like I said, when I was racing against Johnson or Hanna, they would take me out if they could.
On the stopwatch, number 20 already going through the whoops. Here's number 9. 6.7, Bradshaw, and then Emig. And then about 11-2 for Jeremy McGrath behind the leader. Jimmy Button, number 18, flashing through the whoops. Number 17 is Huffman. 11 was Lusk. And here's Larry Ward. Swank, 13.
Doesn't it just look hot out there? Just from that shot, it just looks hot.
The dust that it stirred up here on this hard cement-like course in Las Vegas.
It's going to feel great to get this race over with for these guys. Get back to the truck, get out of this hot riding gear, and get a mouthful of cold water.
Henry, we've mentioned, I guess, many times that it's such a heartwarming story this year, coming back from the broken back incident to, after 6 races, lead the points before a fractured hand put him out of the last 5 races. But you got to pencil this guy into the championship fight for next year.
It's a real shame, too, that it wasn't his fault. It wasn't a mistake that he had made by being too aggressive or anything that took him out of that championship chase. But can you imagine if that had to happen? We may have had a 3-way battle coming down to the wire, and having him in the points may have jockeyed things around a little bit. maybe the points would, he would have taken some points from Jeff, made it a little bit closer.
For the opinions from Henry's mechanic, let's go down to Davey Coombs.
Pete, a bunch of people came out here to see a championship get decided, but you guys are stealing the show.
We've got a four-stroke that Doug's got to ride. He enjoys riding it, and he wanted to show everybody he can win on it.
Does this make all the work worthwhile?
Oh, yeah. We work so hard on this bike, everybody at Yamaha, and it certainly would make it worthwhile.
It'd make it more than worthwhile, let me tell you, because if he wins this race, it would be the 6th Yamaha win of the season, tying Kawasaki's factor of 6 wins for the most wins on the season.
Vegas has been very good to Yamaha, and then Button goes down.
Team Chaparral's Button.
That whoop section right there, those last 3 or 4 bumps, that's where Carmichael went down. Ryan Hughes got a little sideways there, was able to hang on to it.
Button in 6th place when this action happened.
His front wheel got turned a little bit. He was leaned to the inside, tried to put his leg out there, but once he got that much off balance, there was no saving it.
Our leader, Doug Henry. As we mentioned, if he wins, it would be the 6th win for Yamaha, and that would be the most since Damon Bradshaw took 9 victories back in 1992.
It's not that surprising to me to see a 4-stroke do so well outdoors, the way Doug has ridden the season, getting better and better with each event. But on the Supercross track this tight, I am just blown away. I can't believe it. A lot better traction, all I can figure. He was bragging about being able to take the inside right there to make that pass on Emig. Because
obviously,
of the way,
he's got the power.
Yeah, he's got plenty of power. And before that triple in practice, I mentioned a little earlier that it looked like he was testing himself, testing the motorcycle to see how close he could get to that triple before actually gunning it and going for it. And he was still making it no problem.
Of course, the special rules helping out, too, to get 4 strokes integrated into Supercross racing.
We were making fun of him in Hangtown with all the smoke pouring out of the back of that thing. They've got it fixed, and this is going to be a real gratifying win for the entire team. All that hard work. Looking at that bike, the engine cases, I mean, it's a billet piece of aluminum. There's some trick parts on that bike, a titanium subframe. Just the pipe is huge.
Here's Jeremy McGrath in 5th place with 8 laps to go. Lusk is pulling up closer on Jeremy McGrath. Well, you can look back to Phoenix and St. Louis, going down while being in the lead. 3 laps to go at Pontiac. A flat tire in Charlotte while ahead of Emig. All of these factors have been unlucky factors that Jeremy McGrath hasn't had to deal with in the past.
Yeah, I think he's dealt with them pretty good, but you also got to look at the fact that, yeah, Jeremy's had a pretty good year and he's toughed it out, but look what Emig has been able to do. He's been able to keep that pressure on and to keep Jeremy chasing him. Every time Jeremy looked like he got pretty close, had a chance to put him away and take over the lead, Emig came right back with a whole shot and wire-to-wire win to say, nope, you can't have it. It's my turn.
No matter how bad the injury on the heel was bothering, he wanted to repay the fans, too, here in Las Vegas. As we take a look at number 20, our leader, Doug Henry.
Staying about the same. Once Ryan worked his way into second, been about the same gap up to Doug Henry. They're both riding as fast as they can go, and Bradshaw is just little by little starting to inch back off of Ryan Hughes.
Well, Ryan Hughes is headed toward his finest finish of the year in 2nd place. On the podium 1 time this season, and that was a 3rd back in Phoenix.
Ryan had a good ride here in Vegas, beating Damon Huffman in a great race where Huffman had some problems with the start, was working his way up, and Ryan...
Was that the race that I saw the most? No. Okay, I was thinking about the year before when the two were also battling as they exchanged wins here in Las Vegas. But Hughes won the year before, and the most bizarre thing I've ever seen happen to Huffman. He was coming off the building jump at the end of the course, and a rider flipped in midair and landed on his back fender and rode with him for about 10 feet until he tapped him on the shoulder and said, Damon, let me off.
There were a lot of jokes about that, and there was a few people I talked to that actually saw it and said, you know, if I would have told you what I saw, I know you would never believe it, but I did see it. There was a lot of jokes about that with ride sharing and come ride with us, all those programs.
Let's go down to Davey Coombs.
All right, Wyatt, we knew coming in. Well, he's going to turn in and talk to this guy. I was going to ask Wyatt. He knew coming in it was going to be a real long shot for Jeremy. It's starting to get longer. He wants him to pass Emig. I think this is a mental thing as much as anything, but he's got to get by Lusk first.
Wyatt encouraging his rider, Jeremy McGrath, who's shown us a lot of courage this year. Brave, very brave effort. Let's go back now to Davey.
All right, Wyatt, sorry I caught it the wrong time, but it started out as a long shot. It's getting longer.
Yeah, it seems to be. I mean, I don't know. You gotta take with all the bad with the good. I mean, we've had some bad luck, and Emmy's riding a good race right now. It'd be nice if we could still beat him no matter where we finish, but it looks like he's going to win the war for sure.
A sellout. A sign was put up before we came up to the broadcast booth. 34,025 packing this rather small football stadium here in Las Vegas.
Doug Henry continuing to click off consistent laps, maintaining that lead over Hughes.
Bradshaw in third. Boy, what a finish this would be for him. His best was a fifth.
It's a great way for, if all these riders stay where they are, the top three. What a great way to end the season for Bradshaw and for Ryan Hughes, who had a terrible season. And for Doug Henry, it's a little bit of an exclamation point on, hey, I think I was a real contender for the title. I didn't get it, but check this out. I can win it on a 4-stroke. It's going to give him a lot of confidence to go back out and ride that outdoors.
A history-making performance here in Supercross in Las Vegas. Doug Henry, who started the season with a second in Los Angeles, came back to win the second week in Los Angeles. Then he took a sixth. Then he won again. That was in Seattle. We say, hey, wait a minute. Doug Henry is back. A podium performance in Indianapolis, a third. And he was atop the point standings for the next 2 weeks.
Lusk has put in a great ride. Didn't get the best start, but he worked his way around McGrath, and now he's challenging Emick through the whoops. Here he is. No problem.
We've got 3 laps left in our final Supercross round of 1997.
Yeah, I know Emick just at this point doesn't really care. He's like, nope, go ahead, Lusk. Ezra rode fantastic in practice. I actually was talking with Johnny O'Mara, and we both felt like, well, he'd be a good pick tonight, the way he looked, and the start made the difference.
One of the 4 first-time winners this year, and he had a string of 5 podiums in a row, 6 on the season. He's really another success story in 1997, for sure. Henry, Hughes, Bradshaw, Lusk, and Emick on our Suzuki Field summary, as number 20 has got to be feeling good right now.
And on the flip side of that, Jeremy has dropped way off the pace, knowing that it'd take a miracle at this point, and maybe even a little bit more than a miracle. And he's in pain. It's been a long, tough season for him, and tonight's just been brutal. It's got to be painful for him every time he lands off a jump or goes through another one of those whoop sections. He'll be happy to get this one over with, party a little bit, and then get serious for the Nationals.
Well, the Manchester Honda's really working well for Bradshaw as we switch over now to Jeff Emick. If he should win and hang on to this position, he breaks the unprecedented string of 4 consecutive titles by McGrath, of course, but he also becomes the oldest rider to win his first Supercross at the mighty old age of 26, David.
That's experience now. If you still have the desire, I don't care how old you are. If you've got the experience and the desire and that technique, you can still win.
Number 9, Ryan Hughes. He's in second place with Bradshaw in third.
That's really...
White flag lap. Final lap of the final race of the season. Will this be the first Supercross title for Kawasaki since 1987 when Jeff Ward took the title?
This is a long lap for Jeff Emick. He's soaking it all up, though. There's his mechanic. It's a great feeling for these guys.
For the first time in 5 years, someone other than McGrath will reign as Supercross champion. A former teammate of Doug Henry's number 20.
Doug with that fin on his helmet. Troy concoction. A lot of the riders are using them. I think Damon Huffman has one. McGrath had one at the first round at LA. Keeps them straight out there when they get up to top speed.
5th spot, Jeff Emick, Jerry Albrecht, his mechanic, waiting for him to come around. It's got payday written on it, and the crowd is standing giving Doug Henry a great cheer as he takes the checkers for the 3rd time of the 1997 season. And here is your new champion, finishing his final lap as the fireworks go off here in Las Vegas. The City of Lights lighted up for Jeff Emick and Doug Henry. Payday, champ.
That's great.
Well, Jeremy Albrecht gets a little bonus out of that, too. Here he comes across slowly but effectively. Jeff Emig, who is just going step by step on a marvelous career.
It's been a long battle for him. He's been second to Jeremy a long time. He deserves it.
And a well-deserved hand for Doug Henry. As history has not only been made with Emig winning his first Supercross title, but also Doug Henry, a 4-stroke, winning their first Supercross race. A happy moment for the team Kawasaki, no question about it. Jeff Emig never won a 125 title in Supercross. He's won a 125 and 250 in the National Outdoors, and now probably puts his most prestigious performance in the history books. So we'll be back with more to hear from the champion and check out the final 1997 point standings when we return to Las Vegas, Nevada. AMA Supercross on ESPN2 has been brought to you by Suzuki. Your Suzuki dealer has the ride you've been waiting for and the financing to get it. And by Honda. With a whole line of new motorcycles, your Honda dealer is the most exciting place to be this spring. Honda, come ride with us. Welcome back to Las Vegas, Nevada. The fireworks have stopped, but the thrills inside Team Kawasaki and Jeff Emig, I'm sure, haven't, as well as Doug Henry, who puts a wonderful note to his Supercross season, coming back after injury. He was a points leader after 6 races, as we see Jeff Emig being interviewed for the fans here in Las Vegas. Actually, he's with Jerry Bernardo hogging the scene for the Bernardo's show. But let's go down with Davey Coombs right now.
Okay, I'm standing behind Doug Henry, a history maker tonight on the YZM 4-stroke Yamaha. Doug, get him from his mechanic or his manager Keith McCarty. Doug, congratulations.
Thanks a lot, man. I'm so happy. Oh man, this is I don't know if this is the best win or not, but right now it sure does feel like it.
Just make all those hours of practice on that 4-stroke and all the abuse you took from some of your critics in the press and everything to come out here and show them you could do it.
Yeah, definitely. I was just talking to Keith, you know. We worked so hard, you know, these last few weeks. We'd be out testing until 6 at night, from like 9:30 to 6 at night. And these guys, you know, all of us, you know, I want to thank Keith McCarty, Bob Oliver, John R., and especially my mechanic Pete, because we put in a lot of hard hours out there, and it definitely paid off.
Well, congratulations. I know you surprised a lot of people, including everyone up in the press box.
Yeah, I think so. I'm just, I'm glad I got a win on this 4-stroke for all those 4-stroke fans out there.
All right, congratulations, Doug.
Thanks a lot.
Let's take a look at the official results.
Got him.
Right now, as the Suzuki top 5 point standings, it is a 15-point win for Jeff Emig on the 1997 season over Jeremy McGrath. Ezra Lusk with 251 points, nailing down the 3rd spot. Let's go back to Davey.
Well, I said earlier the color of money was blue, but it is green. Congratulations, 1997 AMA Supercross Series champion Jeff Emig.
Thank you. I was trying to fight off, you know, the nerves and everything all day long here, and you know, as most people know, that wasn't one of my best races, but that was the one that definitely clinched it for me. And Kawasaki and my mechanic, Jeremy Albrecht, I mean, they're the ones that I have to thank for it.
Right. What about any words to the dethroned champion, Jeremy McGrath?
I'd just say I respect him quite a lot for what he's done and how he's handled the pressure for the last 4 years.
Right. And you did a good job yourself coming up through all the things you had with Jeremy, being the 2nd and number 2 all the time, number 2. Now you're finally number 1, Jeff.
Yeah, I've every year in Supercross, I've rode 250 Supercross, I've taken a step, and last year I got a 2nd, so there was no place left to go except up to the top here.
Okay, Davey, thank you. More fans attended Supercross in 1997 than ever before, and they've been treated to one of the most competitive seasons in the sport's history. It's been truly an exciting experience bringing you the action. Art Ekman for David Bailey and Davey Coombs. Thank you fans for making our series a tremendous success. 1997, truly a banner year for Supercross. We'll be back with you next throughout the AMA National Motocross season, also right here on ESPN2. This has been a production of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.